how do they start to find leads to get their first wholesale deal?
So, you're cold calling, you want to get a list. If you want the best list, the first thing you want to do is, this doesn't sound like what they're saying on YouTube, because wholesaling is supposed to be easy, right?
Yeah.
According to YouTube.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is really hard. So why am I not getting anything? And I was like, all right, virtual wholesaling is better than wholesaling. And then I got 6 deals that very first month.
How's it going, Tadi?
It's going great. How are you, Ryan?
Excited to have you on the podcast. So wanted to have you on the podcast because I know you are crushing it, right? You are doing virtual wholesaling. I know you've been bouncing back and forth between Vegas and Kansas City and other markets. So for people who don't know who you are, can you give us a quick intro?
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Tadi. I am a virtual wholesaler. So virtual wholesaling is basically wholesaling all online. So I don't go to houses. I don't meet sellers. I didn't start out trying to do that, though. It kind of happened out of necessity. So I was trying to wholesale regular in Vegas. It was like 2 weeks into it. I was just getting nothing. And everyone was cussing me out. And they're like, I will never sell my house for a discount, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, this doesn't sound like what they're saying on YouTube, because wholesaling is supposed to be easy, right?
Yeah.
According to YouTube.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is really hard. So why am I not getting anything? And it's just funny how this happened. So I'm like, maybe it's the market, like most people do.
Exactly.
And
I'm in a tough market.
I'm in a tough market,
Yep.
which is like valid, but it can also be an excuse, right?
Yep.
I went for Cleveland, Ohio. That was my
that's an
first
easier
virtual
market.
market.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be easier. And 2 weeks of calling in Vegas, all I did was get hung up on. The third day in Cleveland, I got a deal under contract.
There you go.
So I was like, all right, virtual wholesaling is better than wholesaling. And then I got 6 deals that very first month.
Dang.
And that's when I was like sold on, I will like never go to a property. I'm only going to be doing virtual. And I started adding other markets after about a year. I added St. Louis, and then I added DMV, Georgia, Florida. And then the newest one is Kansas City.
Got it. So yeah, I think that what we should cover on this podcast is teaching people how to do virtual wholesaling. And I think that a lot of people do struggle because they are in markets like Las Vegas, which is very competitive, Phoenix, Arizona, Southern California, all these like big markets that are very competitive. And I think if they were to go elsewhere, you know, it would be easier. But these 6 deals, did they close? Were those contracts? Okay, you closed.
So
6 deals.
those 6 deals did close. I actually did get 2 others under contract, which I don't really talk about a lot, but it was actually 8 that I got under contract that first month, but 6 closed.
Okay, that's
2
good.
didn't.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know, so I'll talk about my virtual experience real quick. So I was in Southern California and I was crushing it as a flipper, right?
Okay.
But I was like, you know what? I need to start wholesaling because I'm just broke all the time because I'm flipping all these houses. It takes so much capital, right? So I was like, let me do Memphis. I don't even know what state it is.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. That's embarrassing.
Interesting
But
market.
yeah. So I start cold calling in Memphis, Tennessee, right? And very similar to your story, I was like, bro, like I remember the first couple hours I called somebody, I want to say it's within 2 hours. Someone's like, yeah, I want to sell. And I'm like, dude, I've been calling in Southern California for weeks to get one good lead. And excuse me. And then I got my first good lead in like the first hour or 2. I was like, oh bro, I'm going to crush it. So then I keep cold calling. And then like every 5th person I spoke to wanted to sell or they were open to selling. It wasn't like, oh, F off. It's like, sure. What are you going to give me? Like, what's up? So I started getting a bunch of deals in like 2 days. I probably got 15 sellers that wanted to sell. I maybe got like 2 contracts signed. But then the issue that I ran into is some of these houses at the time were worth nothing.
Yeah.
So like they wanted $15K. The house has just had a tree laying on top of it, and to renovate it and to pay off the taxes and et cetera, costs more than what the house would be worth. So most of the deals that I got were just literally worth nothing. And then when I did get a deal, like some of them wanted, like investors were trying to pay me like $1,000 to $2,000 assignment fee. I was like, the hell, I'm not gonna I might as well go get a job if I'm gonna do this. So I quickly just gave up on Memphis, Tennessee. So how are you different? Because I feel like Cleveland is a saturated market. I feel like it's so competitive. They're cheap houses. Everyone tries to do wholesaling in Cleveland. So why were you different?
So, I guess you're gonna make me tell all my secrets here.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that.
Where you went wrong and where most people go wrong is they don't learn the market as they are calling. I know, some people can try to know too much before they start. And the analysis paralysis.
Yeah,
we're not doing that. Yeah. We're jumping right in and calling on day one. But in the meantime, we still are learning because without the knowledge, we're going to lock up crap, right? So then it's like starting from, when I pulled that first list, it was kind of the strategy behind the first list, right? So what is this like? The first list that you're going to dial in this new market should be a list of properties that buyers actually want to buy, right? Because you don't want to get a bunch of properties under contract and everyone tell you, this area, nobody wants to buy there, or, it needs to be free for me to get this property and work on it.
Yeah.
You don't want that. I
got a free deal. Like I had people who are literally like, if you pay my taxes off,
you can have like this house.
$1,500, you can have it. And I was just like, bro, I'm going to be rich. And then I was like, oh, okay.
This girl in my community, Cynthia, has one right now that's free. It has $32,000 of back taxes. It's not even in a horrible neighborhood of Cleveland, and it's a full rehab. So once you fully rehab it for $80K, and then you pay off the $32K, and the ARV is 100, it doesn't make sense. You spent too much money, so nobody's going to want it. But the way we kind of prevent that is by first making sure that we're even pulling lists in the hottest zip codes only, so that when we get a deal, it's a hot area that a buyer will buy in. Now it's just about the number.
Got it.
Because that's where most people go wrong is like they'll go into market, Memphis, Tennessee, pull an absentee vacant list in Memphis, Tennessee, and you're going to get a bunch of properties in war zones. But if you say list source, what are the most properties? And I have a 4-minute YouTube video about this too, but it's just this list source. It's a free website. You can figure out how many properties were sold cash in the last 90 days. And then it breaks it down by zip code and it'll tell you how many in each zip code. So all you have to do is pick like the top 3 zip codes. In these 3 zip codes, there was 180 something cash sales in the last 90 days. Buyers like to buy here. I'm going to pull all the absentee vacant in just these 3. So now you're talking to people who have deals that are desirable. Cool. We check that off. At least we're getting desirable deals. And then now is like the hard part, right? What is the property worth? So I don't suggest anyone try to wholesale virtually in a non-disclosure state because you're not going to get comps. It's going to be so hard to find comps that you're going to be giving incorrect offers and it's going to be hard to move a deal. So I would just suggest if someone's trying to start virtually wholesaling, go with the path of least resistance. Choose a state that's not a non-disclosure state. And if you don't know what non-disclosure is, they just don't need to talk about the house sale prices in that state. Yeah. So you can see MLS comps in a non-disclosure state. You won't be able to see them. So you won't be able to comp. So non-disclosure states like Texas, Missouri, like there's a lot of them. You can Google it. So it's not a non-disclosure state. It's a hot zip code. You can see comps. All you need to do is look at cash comps. You see what buyers are paying for similar properties and go offer lower.
Where do you run cash comps?
So I use a website called reprolist.com.
reprolist.com.
And then in the comparables section, all you have to do is switch a filter to cash sales and it shows you only all cash sales. But all investors don't just buy cash. Some use loans.
Hard money,
so you want to look at both. Consider both. Consider ARV. But we really want to look at the cash sales in those kind of markets because if people are buying houses for like 30, 25, usually there's like they're only willing to spend so much. So if you see like 9, 9, 7, 13, 12, 36, don't look at the 36. Look at the 9 and the 12, you know, and always anchor at the lowest number. And that's how I got my first 6 deals was like, I would see the lowest comp was 15 and I'd be like, I maybe can give you 13. And they're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. It's just what it is. And they're like, if you do 15, I'll do it. And I'm like, all right. And then I can at least get it at 15, sell it at 20. But if I see comps in the 30s and I see the 10s, that's where a lot of people go wrong. They feel like, oh, I can sell it for 30, but that's not the case. You need to be locking it up as if you need to sell it for the lowest price.
Got it. What about, let's rewind a little bit. How many wholesale deals, like tell people your stats so they know.
Yeah, for sure. So in that first year, so I did the 6 deals. I continued to, I guess I should back up. When I say I was cold calling for 2 weeks, I was cold calling like 10 hours a day. So it wasn't like a little bit of cold calling. I don't want anyone to think
that's so funny. That is hilarious. Because I think people are gonna hear that and they're like, oh shoot, I can just cold call for 20.
Let me like, make sure I set the right expectations. Because Vegas 2 weeks was, I'm telling you, Brian, 10 hours a day. My mom was like, you're not eating, you're not drinking. And it was COVID, so.
Also, you're fairly new.
Oh, yeah. So, I guess I didn't say this part. I was waitressing in Vegas, and I got laid off because of COVID.
Oh, okay. Let's just start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, you got fired on your day off, I guess.
Yeah, I got laid off. Yeah. So, COVID happened. On March 11th, they were like, you guys can't come back. Stay home. And they're like, oh, yeah, and by the way, unemployment's $300 a week. I'm like, what are we going to do with that?
Oh, it's like passive income.
And I'm like, I didn't know like all this rent stuff. I'm like, I have rent to pay. I'm a single mom too, by the way.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So I'm raising this little boy. He's 3 at the time.
Damn.
By myself. And I'm like, dude, what am I going to do? I just got laid off.
How old were you?
I was 25.
Oh, so you're a child.
Yeah. And it was like, I can't even tell you. Like, I cried that whole day because I'm like, this stupid disease that's not even real. They're making us like.
We're going to have to believe this sounds going to
No, I know. But no, it's real. But like at that time, I'm like, I was pissed. But then I'm like, okay, let me go on YouTube, figure something out. I had already dropped probably over $10,000 on trying to do Amazon FBA. Because I had that like entrepreneur thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this Amazon thing didn't work. I wasted the money. What about this wholesale thing? And that is when I just went like crazy on YouTube for like 48 hours. I downloaded the Brent Daniels TTP script. I got a list. Boom. That was it. Started calling in Vegas 10 hours a day. So when I switched to Cleveland, I was still doing that 8 to 10 hours. So on day 3, I got my first deal. 6 deals my first month. I did 37 deals my first year, right?
Uh-huh.
Closed. But think about how many
Hold on. Go back. You got the TTP script.
I got the TTP script.
And then what'd you do?
So with that TTP script, I did the Vegas for 2 weeks. And then when I moved to Cleveland, on the 3rd day, I got my first deal. Uh-huh. And then I did 6 deals that first month.
6 deals that first month.
And I continued to cold call by myself for the first 3 months until it got to a point where I felt like, I have so many leads to follow up on. I'm not cold calling anymore.
Got it.
And then I hired a Filipino VA named Raj. Mm-hmm. And then
I gotta tell their race, but I get it.
Oh well, yeah. I mean overseas. I'm sorry, I didn't mean Filipino. An overseas VA named Raj. And then I hired another cold caller about 3 months later. So in that first year, I was able to close 37, but I got a lot under contract that didn't close. A lot like Memphis, like you were saying. Like some I locked up too high, or there was title issues, or serious distress. So that was year 1. Year 2, I moved to Cleveland.
You moved to Cleveland? You're all in.
I was like, I'm doing all these wholesales. I need a flip. I'm not a real investor. I'm just a wholesaler.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you got brainwashed probably by Ryan Pineda or someone like that.
I guess I felt small. So I was like, I'm just a wholesaler right now. I felt
small. So you moved to Cleveland?
I was like, I need to flip. I need to build a portfolio. I need to like get
passive
in the game.
income.
Yeah, passive income. I'm 26. I'm too old to be working. And then I got... I really messed up because I don't know the first thing about rehabbing. So I was like buying properties, getting a little bit scammed, a little bit screwed. I bought my first 2 while I was still in Vegas. Yeah. And like 2 contractors scammed me. So I was like, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going out there and I'm going to flip these houses myself. So,
got it.
So that's, now we're in 2021. In 2021, I end up buying 18 doors.
Damn.
And 2 were not distressed.
Okay. So
and it was
you
kind
bought
of
16 distressed doors.
And it was kind of like in a 5-month period.
Oh yeah.
And
so
I didn't have a contractor team.
Yeah.
And I was still wholesaling by myself.
Dang.
And I was still a single mom. So that was a really low point for me, I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
I spent a lot of the money that I made wholesaling, and lost some money too. But I just learned a lot about entrepreneurship. Like, I wasn't built for it yet.
That's so funny. I mean, it sounds like you were built for it. I think what we'll, if you're listening to this and you need a script, we'll put a script in the description of this property so you can get started cold calling. But let's go. And then if you're listening to this still, like this video and subscribe because we need more subscribers and more likes on these videos. But let's go back to you moved to Cleveland. You are buying 18 doors. And were you flipping these properties or were you to keep them as rentals?
I was hoping to keep them as rentals was the idea.
Got it. Okay. And then what happened with these 18 doors?
So the first one, I actually had a friend of mine who bought the property with me. This first one, we bought all cash and we went half-half.
There you go. That's kind of good.
I mean, yes and no. And then the bad part was the contractor kind of scammed us $7,500. And I brought my friend, and it's my friend, you know? So, I had to pay him back and take the loss. And I sold the house because I was like, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Then, so going on to the other properties, that was the guy that I thought was going to be the contractor. So I'm spending a lot of money and time now to get one small thing done. Like a little electrical thing here, a little plumbing thing here. Because I'm having to do everything. I don't have a team to like call contractors and arrange things for me.
Yeah.
So in doing that, my wholesale pipeline dried up.
Okay.
And I was at a point where I was like, one night I was crying and my dad was like, you know, you shouldn't do this real estate thing. You were a really good waitress and you weren't stressed out when you were a waitress.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Your dad said you were a good waitress? That is hilarious.
And he's like, you weren't stressed out and you were able to, you know, be a mom.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe if this is too much, just go back to that.
Oh.
And then it was like, that was the moment where I'm like, dang, can I handle this emotionally? Is this too much for me? Like,
yeah.
And then I had to really think about, okay, what do I like the most? I like the fact that I can be at home with my kids and make money. I don't like going to meet contractors. No. They talk for a long time. It's hard for me to really know if they're giving me a good price. You know, there's just so much. I didn't have a mentor. Yeah. I met an agent, Wayne Brooks, shout out Wayne. He is also a really great flipper in Cleveland. So he went to the properties with me and he just tore me apart.
Oh, really?
And I bought really bad.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything.
All of them?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
As far as how much renovation was needed, I was able to wholesale 16 out of the 18 and I still have 2. So I pretty much sold everything, but I still have 2.
Got it. Okay. But you didn't lose money on those deals?
I mean, I lost a little on, but overall on everything, I made $18,000.
Got it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you go through this traumatic experience. I'm guessing you were living in Cleveland at the time. And then what happened next?
So then I wanted to 100% focus on wholesaling, not get shiny object syndrome, and build a team.
Okay.
I realized my problem was I was doing everything alone.
That was in 2021.
Yes.
Okay. 2021, you realized you need to build a team. And then what happened next?
So at that point, I partnered up with another wholesaler in North Carolina. And he was doing the physical thing. I was doing the virtual thing.
Okay.
And I took the lead gen and dispo role. He took the AC role, and we hired some people, and we started doing deals together. And that was so much better for me.
Got it. And that was, when you say physical thing, were you physically doing it in North Carolina now, or you were doing it in Cleveland?
Well, he was physically in North Carolina, and his main thing was driving for dollars.
Okay.
So I was in Cleveland at the time, and I was 100% still, I mean, technically virtual because I'm doing it from my house, but I'm still 100% Cleveland, and St. Louis was the only other market I had. So we added North Carolina. So his name's Ilkan Ali. We go on in 2021. I want to say we did probably around 30 deals together, but we did 11 land deals. So that's when I got introduced to land deals.
Okay. So you were just changing business plans as the season, right?
Exactly, yeah. Everything that seems like it's going to make money, it was like, oh, maybe I'm going to be better at that. Maybe I'm going to be better at that.
Yeah, got it. So 2021, you end up doing 31 deals. You found a business partner. You're wholesaling land in St. Louis and Cleveland and North Carolina. And then what happens? So
that's end of 2021 when we start working together. So that's going from 2021 through 2022. Number one, I mean, I guess these things are happening simultaneously. A lot of people in 2021 were asking me to help them figure out virtual wholesaling.
Okay.
So I started doing these Zooms. So this is when
So now you start coaching people.
Yeah, so this is when my social media starts going crazy because I had posted a YouTube video when I closed that first deal and it went viral and people started following me on Instagram. But I was doing the tracking my journey thing. Like,
Oh, okay.
Just
I actually want to start doing that for myself too.
it's really good.
Yeah. But,
Yeah, like,
yeah, go ahead. You said.
oh, I'm going to do this text blast. Oh, I'm going to cold call. Like, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I started getting a lot of followers and they're like, can you show us how you pull a list or can you show us? So I made this 4-hour Zoom and everyone paid like $50 and it was an hour recording. And then I sold that. It was a 4-hour recording. Sorry. I sold that recording for $100 because people kept asking me. So I'm like, there's a link in my bio, like get the thing and you're going to learn it. So this is like weird, but people start doing so good, like better than me.
Yeah. And then you just get pissed. You're like,
way better than me. And then I'm like, what the heck? Why are they doing so much better than me? Well, because I'm not focused. They're getting the same stuff that I did, and then they're doing better because I'm not focused. I'm doing everything. So 2022 is when I really started helping other people virtually wholesale while I'm still with that partner. We did our biggest, so the biggest deal I've ever done was done in 2022. Our partnership was really good, but he had some family stuff going on, so we kind of parted ways. And then now I have a partner as well. Like I like wholesaling with partners.
Got it. Okay, so how many deals did you end up doing in 2022 and 2023?
So 2022, that was the year we did about 30.
Okay.
So 2021 was probably like 25. So altogether, I've done like just under 150.
Okay.
And then
really
this
good.
year we did 2023. I mean, we did 26 deals.
Okay, that's really
And
good.
then now, January, we've closed 2. We have a closing next week. And we hopefully will have one more, but it might get pushed back to February.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So
4 or
interesting.
5 deals a month could be normal, but then sometimes it'll be 3 or 2, you know?
I mean, that's still really good, consistent deal.
It's not like we're doing 100K every month, but
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. And then like before we get into like I want to get into strategy and like what's working today wholesaling virtually.
Yeah.
Like what is your background? Like where are you from? I heard you have a kid, a single mom. Like can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm the first person in my family born in the United States. So my family's from Ethiopia.
Okay.
I'm from Ethiopia.
I'm from Ethiopia.
Really?
Addis Ababa.
No, you're not. See? You could be, though.
I could be. I know. I've said that line so many times. People are like, really? And then I say, oh, I'm from Addis Ababa. And people are like, oh, my God. I don't even know if I'm saying it right anymore. But
You almost are, but you're saying Addis, and it's Addis. It's a D and not a B.
Addis Ababa.
That's what got me.
Oh, okay.
It means new flower.
Yeah.
So that's so funny because you really kind of look Ethiopian.
Yeah. I mean, I'm Puerto Rican, but yeah.
Maybe once upon a time. Yeah, my family's Ethiopian. I was born in Cali, and then I grew up in Vegas.
Got it.
Since I was 6.
Yeah.
So Vegas, you know what it is. And
Party girl.
When I was like 16, you know, 'cause
Yeah,
that's how it is out here. Like you party when you're 16, and then when you're 20, you're over it. That's kind of how I was.
What school did you go to?
I went to Cimarron and Palo for high school, and then I went to Becker for middle school.
Got it.
Summerlin?
I went to Durango, and I went to like Lawrence Middle School. I don't know if you know
Okay,
where
yeah.
that is. Yeah.
I know both of those.
So, and then you had a kid.
So I got married when I was 21.
Dang.
Yep. I had my son. And then I had my daughter when I was 26, and I was not married.
Okay.
So I was already divorced.
Oh, okay. So you
Yeah.
had your first kid at 21, got a divorce.
Second kid
and
at
then had a second-
26.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
during wholesaling.
In the middle of all this transition,
Yeah, and
you're just like, throw a baby in
throw
there.
a baby in there. And crazy. And I'm not going to like go too deep in this, but
Yeah.
I literally like had closing day on the day I gave birth.
Damn.
But I didn't do it. I couldn't close.
Oh, you couldn't close?
couldn't
Oh,
close.
you see?
So it's just funny, but that's my background and my educational background. I went to Grambling State University. I was going to go for business management. I went for a year and I hated it. And I came back to Vegas and
Yeah.
I just started like working jobs. I got my real estate license and failed when I was 19. Like didn't even really try to do anything. Let
Yeah.
it expire.
Yeah.
Sold timeshare at Grandview.
Okay.
Crushed it. That's when I learned sales.
Yeah.
I was like super top performer.
Okay.
And then that's when I started like waitressing and doing stuff like that.
You're like the definition of shiny object syndrome.
I-
You're like solar, college, wholesaling,
Right.
land,
You ain't gotta
children,
tell me.
this, that.
You ain't gonna tell me.
I'm like the opposite where I've been flipping houses the whole time and I just like don't even like wholesaling because I like to just stick to one
Really?
thing. Yeah. We can talk about it in a little bit, but yeah, I just like to stick to one thing and you're just like boom, 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 boom.
I wish I was like you.
Okay, so what are you doing now? Are you still doing land? Are you still doing Cleveland? Are you still doing North Carolina? Like what is it you're focused on now?
Yeah, so you're 100% right. Too much shiny object syndrome. There's a lot of downfalls within like almost nationwide virtual wholesale model, you know?
And also you have shiny object syndrome, but you've been successful. So most people have shiny object syndrome and they can't close a deal because they'll watch Brett Daniels. They're like, Brett Daniels has to cold call. And then they'll watch Ivan Tejeda. And they're like, oh, well, I should do Airbnb. And then they'll watch me and they're like, oh, I should flip. And then they watch Pace and they're like, oh, I should do creative finance. So it's like, so you've been successful, which is like rare for people who have shiny object syndrome. So I got to give you credit for that. But what were you saying?
I think it's me trying to like climb this invisible ladder as fast as I can.
Exactly.
And I think it's messing me up.
Yeah.
Because it always ends up setting me back. So with that same thought, we took Tiffany and Josh's online thing during the summer, and where they keep saying like, go deep, don't go so wide. You're in too many markets. Go deep. And I'm like, they're probably right. Like they're kind of crushing it. So me and my partner
but
talked.
You're like, nah,
we're like, let's narrow it down. So we'll JV in all those other places just because we already have the buyers. And you know what I mean? Because we've already been wholesaling in those other places. We're not marketing anywhere anymore but Kansas City.
Okay. How did you get to
How
did you get to Kansas City? Where did that come in?
I know, right? With this virtual, like I'm obsessed with this virtual thing and I've been studying markets since 2020 because it's like when I realized Cleveland and St. Louis had a couple things in common, I went on a hunt for like the same thing. But I realized in places like Nashville, where I thought I might have luck because it had some of the same elements, I was almost too late. Like they had already gentrified Nashville. So I started looking for like pre-boom markets.
Oh,
and that's when I decided on where I'm at right now.
When was that?
So the summer of 2022 was my first time going to Kansas City.
Got it.
So my other thought was Baltimore before Kansas City. So I did go to Baltimore to catch a feel.
Yeah.
Or I guess that's not a good phrase. To catch a vibe.
Catch a feel. You get some market knowledge, we would say.
Catch a vibe, I guess, some market knowledge. But Baltimore was scary.
Yeah, that's scary. Catch a vibe. Yeah, you went to Baltimore to catch a vibe. But
to see if the real estate market seemed like I could play a role in, like developing the community, but it was just like, no, it's a little too rough. But Kansas City is like happy medium, Midwestern, a lot of jobs, a lot of business opportunities, but a lot of real estate that needs renovation.
Okay, so all right, now let's go deep into real estate.
Yeah.
And then we want to walk people step by step how to start virtually wholesaling. So first, walk me through what are you doing in Kansas City to get deals?
Okay, so number one, still doing cold calling.
Okay.
Still doing cold calling. So we have right now at this moment, 6 cold calling VAs.
How much do you pay your VAs?
So between $3 and $4 an hour, depending on how long they've been around. And then my admin VA gets $5.
Okay.
And then she manages the cold calling team.
Okay, so you have 5 cold callers and 1 admin. Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay.
Well, Well, 5 cold callers. She is a cold caller, but she's also an admin.
Got it. Yeah, okay, so 5 cold callers and 1 that's like a split admin / cold caller.
Yeah, and then they're all 3. She's 4, and then we have the 6th one. She's kind of like a buyer's list lead manager, like a Swiss Army knife type of thing. Like she can be anywhere.
Okay, so she's like an ambiguous
helper
role. Yeah.
And then we have 2 lead managers.
That are all VAs also?
They're also VAs.
So what do lead managers do?
So lead managers, once the cold callers get the lead manager actually makes sure they're even warm enough for a closer to close them.
Got it.
So that first cold call, they might not really be interested. The lead managers keep calling them for like months and months until they're really ready to sell.
Got it. Do you feel like there's too many pass-offs or have you, like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the only reason that we have to do it this way is because each role is really good at their role, and all of these things always need to simultaneously be done because we have so many leads in the system now that it's like there always needs to be follow-up going on, but there always needs to be new leads coming in, but there always needs to be closing conversations.
Exactly.
So we had to kind of separate them like that.
That makes sense. So, okay. So, and then your lead managers are VAs also.
They are.
So do they speak good English? Are they broken English or how's that?
So the cool thing is one of them's, dang, this is bad. I don't remember if he's from Venezuela or Ecuador, but he's from Latin America. And
That's a good, I was going to say something else.
he lived in the United States for a long time. So he has the perfect accent. He sounds American. And then he also speaks Spanish. So he's awesome. And then the other one's from India. He does have a thick accent, but he speaks really conversationally. So it's similar to just like being in the US and meeting someone from another country.
So you're hiring internationally. You got Ethiopians, you got
my partner's from Trinidad.
There you go. There you go. So, okay, so you have 2 lead managers, we'll say 6 cold callers. Who else? What are the closers virtual also?
No, so they are here in the United States.
How many closers do you have?
So right now we have 3. It's kind of
So you got a pretty big team.
We do have a pretty big team right now. And then we have I run Dispo, so it's me, and then we have a Dispo manager, and then a Dispo like kind of assistant. But
got it. So it's you, a Dispo manager, and a Dispo assistant.
For Dispo, yeah.
Got it. And then what does your partner do?
So he's the acquisitions manager. He runs the sales team.
Okay,
and then he closes a lot too.
Got
honestly,
it. So is he one of the 3 closers or?
He's not. He's separate. And then we have 2 agent outreach. That's it.
So
and that's it. That's the whole team.
Are the agent outreach virtual or what are they?
They are also in the United States, but everybody is remote at home. We don't have an office, a physical office. Good. Yeah.
So, and last question about where you live. Do you live in Kansas City now?
So I'm back and forth between Vegas and Kansas City.
Okay, got it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's go deeper into cold calling. So with 6 cold callers, obviously you need a lot of data.
Yes.
Like talk to me about your systems. Like what dialer are you using? Where do you get data? What KPIs are you tracking on cold callers? So
the data, reprolist.com, just for full transparency, is like my prop stream link.
Okay.
So that's where we get like mass data.
So is it prop stream, just white labeled?
It's just prop stream. It's just my affiliate link.
Okay, for prop stream.
Yeah, for prop
Got
stream.
It. Okay.
So we get our data there.
Shoot, get your affiliate on. Go.
And then PropWire also gives free, so you can get up to like 25,000 leads in one pool on PropWire for free. Not skip traced, just data.
Just data. Got it.
Skip tracing, skipsavior.com for 10,000. They skip trace it for $300. So it's 3 cents a lead.
Okay. So how good is the data?
So it's good, but we have a process. So a lot of people, like, this is part of like the whole thing of trying to save money, because when I was spending 18 cents a skip, I was spending thousands every month on skip tracing.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of those records are on the cheap skip tracing. So what we do is we get the 3 cents, we call the list until we use Ready Mode Dialer.
Okay.
So it kind of tells you how many rounds.
Yeah.
I love Ready Mode.
Yeah.
So once they've gone through the list like at least 10 times and there's no more, you know how it'll tell you like 2,000 out of 3,000 leads still left. Mm-hmm. If there's at least like very little leads left, like it's like 100 out of 3,000, we'll take that list out and we'll look for everybody who was a wrong number, a bad number, or didn't have a number. Mm-hmm. And we'll skip trace only those through the I have a private investigator that uses TLO. She charges 18 cents a skip.
Dang.
So we'll remove those and then we'll have her skip them just to try to get the better data.
Yeah.
So it's not bad data, right? But it's like, it's good data. We get a lot of leads from it. It's not perfect, but we're saving a lot of money by spending only $300 for 10,000 than $1,800 or
especially
whatever.
with all the people you have. Yeah. If you were spending a lot of money on data, it would add up quickly. So,
and I did that in 21 when I was with the guy from North Carolina, partnering with him. We had a time where we were spending $12,000 a month on marketing.
Yeah.
And it was to the point where it was very heavy on our back if we didn't have a closing to be spending another 6 G's each, you know? It was it's a lot.
It is a lot. So, okay, so that's, you kind of broke down all the data. What about KPIs?
So, gosh, I'll show you on my phone too. How we track it, because it's a lot of callers, right? They have to put in, the goal is 3 leads a day. So when
Okay.
they send in a lead, it's in a WhatsApp chat. So they'll say, Brian Davila, 1 out of 3. Tadi Tediment, 2 out of 3. So that's just us tracking throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, everybody has an end of day report. So we track how many dials were even made in the dialer, how many conversations did you have, how many were a lead, and then with all the no's, how many did you ask, like, do you have another property? Because that's one thing I try to ask the cold, like,
Yeah.
push on the cold callers. Don't just hang up when they say no.
Yeah.
Ask them, because we've gotten a lot of deals from that question.
Oh yeah, I have to. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are what we track for the callers. The
So you want them
dials,
to do
calls,
3.
leads.
How many dials do you know?
How many dials do you usually do?
Yeah.
About 160 to like 250 maybe.
Oh, that's low.
Yeah, it's not a lot, honestly.
no. Yeah.
And they work 6-hour shifts. I don't have them work 8.
Yeah. So three leads, 150 dials. Do you watch talk time or any of that stuff or no?
Not really. I listen to calls that are over a minute.
Got it. And then like, what is, as far as like, how often are you like turning through VAs? Like, what
That's
kind
a
of
good
like,
question.
do you track closings per VA or no?
No, that's a good question. I probably have at least a like 1 VA every 2 months is gonna
Turn?
turn.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. You don't track like closings per VA.
That's actually a good idea. I never thought of it.
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
My VA, who's the admin, she's been around for 2 full years, going on almost 3.
Yeah.
And then the other one, she's been around for 1.5. Besides those 2, there's been a lot of turnover with the others.
Oh,
It's
really?
been hard to
Are they all from the Philippines?
Mm-hmm.
And how are you recruiting them?
just like from the like real estate virtual assistant Facebook groups.
Got it.
I'll post in there. They'll apply. We'll do group interview, and then the ones I like, I'll onboard.
Got it. Okay. So that all makes sense. What other KPIs do you track on like the acquisition side?
So on the acquisition side, they're tracking conversations, offers, and then contracts sent, contracts signed.
Got it. And then you're averaging, you're saying 3 to 4 contracts a month?
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, more contracts, 3 to 4 deals a month.
Oh, okay, closing. So you're
we
closing 3 to 4 a
and we're
month.
probably losing 2 a month. To
Okay.
be real.
So you're still, so if you close 3 to 4, you're probably locking up 6 to 7
Yeah.
maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then some get pushed, some cancel, and some close.
Exactly.
Got it. And then as far as like, do you track closing ratios, like how your closers are doing?
Actually.
There we go. I love it.
Actually, it's actually good that you so we close one. So I know this one. We close 1 out of every 31 leads.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, every 1 out of every 31
Leads, that's a real lead.
from the lead manager, not
From
the
the
cold
lead
caller.
manager, not the cold caller.
Got it.
So that
okay.
we call that a hand raise.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you call hand raisers people who said they're interested,
Mm-hmm.
and then when the lead manager talks to them, you count them as a real lead, and then you close 1 out of 31.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And then it's funny because like my partner's kind of crazy like me. So he was up really late last night and texted me, like broke down every lead source. So like pay per lead, total leads 15, hot and ready 2, long-term follow-up 3. Like he's just sent me like all the stats.
Okay.
So we do pay per lead, we do cold calling. We do mail only on the people that don't have phone numbers. Like we can't reach them at all.
Yeah.
Because mail wasn't very successful for me. I know a lot of people have success, but it's kind of expensive for what it is. So
Yeah.
I just mail the people that we can't find phone numbers. And JV is the other marketing
JV
method.
Partners. Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then have you seen success doing pay per lead?
We've seen a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's slow. I will say that the agent outreach is more successful than the pay per lead right now.
And we can get into agent outreach because that's what I'm doing right now. But who do you guys use for pay per lead, and what kind of ROAS are you seeing on your marketing?
So need to sell my house fast.
That's like really popular.
We used iSpeed to lead for a
Or
little bit, and then we
Ylopo.
just signed up for Lead Zolo.
Yeah.
So the only one that's actually given us a lot of leads is Need to Sell My House Fast.
Yeah.
And all together, we've got 34 leads from them, and we've closed 3 deals.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 of those deals were JV Need to Sell My House Fast deals. So we split them.
What do you mean
Which
JV
was
Need to Sell My House?
somebody else bought the lead on Need to Sell My House Fast and couldn't close it.
Oh,
So they
okay.
came to my partner. He closed 2 of them.
What about as far as like what's the return on ad spend like on the need to sell my house fast?
I don't think we've got enough data to determine that yet.
What about for cold calling?
For cold calling, I don't know. That's a good
like, what do you spend?
That's a good question.
And what do you normally make?
So our average deal is 8,500. So I know that's low, but I think it's because of the more cash flow markets we're in. So our average deal for 2023 was 8,500. And we spend about $5,000 a month on the whole cold calling and ready mode.
That's ready mode. Is that including your lead managers?
Yeah.
Lead managers,
cold callers and ready mode, 5K. Lead managers, probably another 1,600. So
probably like 7K.
Yeah.
And then you probably
But the lead managers are also
24.
managing other leads.
Got it.
PPL, they manage all the leads.
Got it.
So yeah, about 7K, I guess. If we do 3 deals a month.
Yeah, like about 25K.
Yeah. But all the deals we do aren't cold calling. So I feel like that statistic is blurred. And it's good that I do need to get more clarity on what deals only close from cold calling and then figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, you should join our All-Star program because you're at that level and it kind of sounds like it would benefit you. But anyways.
I'm missing some pieces.
Yeah, which is still good. I mean, you're still good. You're in the 1% of wholesalers because most wholesalers come in and they close 1 to 3 deals a year. So, yeah.
That's a real statistic?
That's a real statistic.
Oh, wow.
And it's actually probably less because it depends on who you define as a wholesaler. Because what about if we count all the people that want to come into the industry and don't end up doing a deal, then what do you think the statistic is? It's
probably way crazier.
Yeah, probably like hundreds of people. Yeah, hundreds. Yeah, that's like monthly. I would say hundreds of people quit. So statistically, yeah, it's not very good. But okay, so I kind of have a good understanding of where your business is at. What are you trying to scale to, or like what's the vision now? And then we'll get into step by step how to start virtually wholesaling.
So I like you, I don't love wholesaling.
Oh yeah. I don't even like flipping houses, just so you know. I don't like wholesaling at all. Like that's why I don't wholesale, because I don't like it at all. Like my distaste for it is so high that I just don't.
So you don't wholesale?
Like I will wholesale. Like right now I'm wholesaling 1 deal, right? I have like 7 flips and I have 1 wholesale. I am going to have to wholesale more this year just because I'm trying to scale, and then you just run out of capital so fast when you're like flipping houses.
Yeah.
So I am forced to wholesale, but I don't like it. Do I like flipping? Yeah, I like it. I don't love it. It's not my passion, but yeah, I really just don't like wholesaling.
Do you feel like you really have a passion?
For what?
Something else?
I have a passion to be a freaking monster. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be like, like my goal this year, I want to become the most known house flipper in America, which I think I can because there's like very less competition. I want to do 50 deals, make $1 million flipping houses.
Okay.
That's what I'm passionate about. I don't like necessarily care so much about like the transformation of flipping houses.
Okay.
But for some reason with wholesaling, I'll tell you why I don't like wholesaling. Number one, I feel like, and this might sound bad because you're a wholesaler, so I feel bad.
No, please.
A lot of wholesalers are very like dishonest.
Yes.
So I feel like they're kind of lying to the seller. They're kind of lying to the buyers a lot.
Yes. So
I just don't really like that. I'm more like upfront. So that's why I don't know if I would be a successful wholesaler, because I would be telling everyone like, hey, just so you know, I'm not going to buy this. I'm going to sell it to another investor and they're going to pay me. I don't know if that would work. That's one reason. And then also like for me, wholesaling is hard and a little bit more sophisticated in my opinion, because like with spending money on marketing, kind of like you said, you really need to make money quick or else you're kind of just spending money and not getting a return. Where with flipping, I don't have to spend money until I actually get a deal. Do you get what I'm saying? So wholesaling, you're spending money first. hoping to get a return.
Yeah.
With flipping houses, I get the deal. I already project the return, and then I invest the money.
That makes sense. So you're only investing money knowing you're going to make. Or
Yes.
wholesaling, you're spending it hoping you're going to.
Yeah.
Hoping, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, if you're a good wholesaler, then you will know. Like
Eventually.
I'm sure. Yeah, I know. I'm sure for you, if I were to just say, hey, do deals in Detroit, do a 5K budget, I could bet that you're going to get a return on that 5K because you already have done it for so long and have experience. Where I could do it too, but I just don't have the passion for it. So it's hard for me to do it.
I think the other thing that I am getting from what you're saying is like, also I think that the setting up all the wholesaling stuff is almost not worth your time because you could be making a lot more focusing on flipping potentially. Yeah. I
mean, there's always like, it's hard to speak in generalities because I know wholesalers, like you mentioned, already.
But it's so rare. That's 1 out of a million.
Even, do you know Jerry Norton?
Yeah, I love Jerry Norton.
I love Jerry Norton too. So I had him on the podcast. If you haven't, go listen to it. But he, to me, is the OG established house flipper, right? Like he's the George Washington of house flippers, right?
Yeah.
And even when I had him on the podcast, he was just like, yeah, like you need to wholesale because you need that revenue coming in that's faster. And the cash conversion cycle is not 4 to 8 months. It's like 30 to 60 days, if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
So wholesaling is a necessity for me now that I'm going to transition to, but over the last few years, I haven't really like done a lot of wholesaling, but I will this year, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I will say that it's kind of like a strenuous business model because you have to have your eyes on so many things at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, are they messing up the calls there? Are they messing up the calls there? Are they messing up the calls there?
Yeah.
There's
am I dispoing it wrong?
Am I dispoing it wrong? Like so many pieces that can go wrong that I do. And I think this goes back to the shiny object syndrome that we talked about. I do feel like there is a lot of other businesses with more upside for less effort. I know that's not what you look for when you're starting a business. Like, what can I get into that doesn't take a lot of effort?
Like what business? What business? Like, give me an example.
Even flipping. Like, that was my thing with flipping.
Oh, okay.
Like, I can, with less, like, emotional and like so many little minute details, I might be able to make similar or more, or new construction, or like other lanes in real estate, or like on the digital side, like social media, what I've been doing, even like with brands, or there's a lot of online things. So
online marketing.
Online marketing. So I'm looking at everything like, okay, I was a waitress who felt like I couldn't be an entrepreneur and I was a failure. But I've shown myself that I can succeed at something.
Oh, yeah.
I have some money now, so I can do something. Do I want to like blaze a trail and go full throttle on the real estate path? Or, do I have another passion?
Exactly.
So I think that's kind of where I'm.
Oh, okay. And how old are you again?
I'm 29.
Yeah, 29. I'll give you my unsolicited advice.
Please.
So I have... And even though I say I haven't had shiny object syndrome, last year, 2023, I felt like I was very like into the social media, digital marketing and all that stuff. And I think I got wrapped up in like a lot of hype and like, oh, like I want to do a podcast with this person. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I got away from like the basics that got me to where I was at. And then at the end of the year, I was just like, damn, like I made less money than what I wanted to make because I was so wrapped up in like all these other things. So this year I was just like, dude, I'm going to focus on real estate because I need to make money, like period. Not clout, not passion, not like all these things. It's like this year for me it's going to be a spiritual year, with God and making sure that I go to church and, try to impact as many people as possible with Jesus. And then also discipline where I'm not going to, I've tried, Amazon automations or at least investing into them. I've tried, click funnels and ads from my Instagram. I've tried flipping, wholesaling. I've tried Airbnbs. I bought a bunch of Airbnbs.
You told me about that at the WealthCon.
Yeah. So I tried that. I bought a bunch of rental units. I scaled up. I bought like freaking 34 units quick.
Wow.
And then like I have them and they did good with appreciation, but the cash flow is just not the true net cash flow after CapEx at the end of a 12-year cycle is not typically there where it makes a lifestyle difference to me. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but I'm just saying I think what you need to figure out is what's your ultimate goal. So do you know what your ultimate goal is?
Yeah, like Oprah Life.
Like, what does that mean?
Like
Just balling?
just balling out of control.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, no, I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
There you go.
I'm dead serious. Like, wake up in the morning. When I get up, all I see is water view.
Oh.
All I see is water view. Everything's like top luxury, nannies,
Where do you...
boats.
I love it. Where is this water? Do you know?
Florida.
What part of Florida do you know?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm open.
Okay.
I'm really looking for a deal.
So you're trying to do this now.
So I will buy the house based on, I will live wherever the house is.
Got it.
So I'm going to find that Waterview house. I'm from Ethiopia, so I want to do a lot for my home country too.
Yeah.
So I know, I'm joking like, yeah, I want the luxury life. I want everything, but I know I want an immense amount of wealth or the ability to put together an immense amount of wealth to help. There's no foster care system. There's no social services system. There's none of that in other countries. When kids don't have parents, they literally, if they don't have family, they just die. It's really sad.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's fair. Like, my name Tadela means she's lucky. I got so lucky to be born in this country.
Yeah.
Like, if something happened to my parents, even if the foster care system's not that good, someone will feed me and clothe me and I will be able to be alive. It's not like that in the rest of the world. So if I can, while I'm on this planet, change those kids' lives that just didn't have the luck of being born somewhere like me. It's just so unfair, you know?
Yeah, okay. So let's talk about that. So have you done anything yet? Like,
so I do. So my mom is really involved with the church and with Ethiopia.
Okay.
So far I've just sent money.
Yeah.
But I really want to do something like big.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. That's good. Like, even sending money is very impactful. So ultimate goal, impact, help the children of Ethiopia, live baller, right?
Yeah.
What needs to happen to hit that ultimate goal?
A lot. So money, influence, leadership, people believing in me.
Yeah.
And living with a lot of integrity so people can. And
Yeah.
I think that is why I move kind of cautiously because I just want to make the right steps.
Yeah. So if we talk about the influence, you're already doing Instagram and YouTube. So you're already doing that. But are you like, how much are you posting or what's your schedule on that side?
Yeah. So on social media, I had so many years. I had the 2 years of content before I ever posted on TikTok.
Yeah.
So I hired a VA, a full-time VA, and all she does is repurpose my old Instagram content on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and IG Reels.
Okay.
Facebook Reels, and then I do my own Instagram. So
How much do you pay that VA?
$100 a week.
A week?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like she's also overseas and she's like a student. She's learning.
Okay.
So she wants to be a social media manager.
Okay.
So
that's
I'm
great.
like, I'm helping her.
How did you find her?
So that one, Upwork.
You're just like good at hiring VAs.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually I got better. So she's amazing and she really takes a lot of initiative. So she helps me a lot with social media because otherwise this year I would have gotten too overwhelmed to really be doing it.
Exactly.
I have a content day where I'll record stuff and then I try to, so she reaches out to people on Instagram for me and tries to get me podcasts and guests and get me booked. And she'll
you have
email.
a podcast?
I recorded my first 3 episodes.
Okay.
I'm trying to get a few in the bank, but I'm going to launch it soon.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then, so you're working on the influence. The money side, I guess, is like, what needs to happen?
What needs to happen?
I'm asking you.
I'm asking you. No. What needs to happen is I need to be like so I guess it depends on who you talk to. In my opinion, I believe that I need to build to at least be netting to myself a couple million a year so I can start but then some other people would say, well, you could just start a nonprofit right now and start raising money and doing that right now. But I don't want to lose focus on what I'm doing, trying to build another company.
Yeah, I think you could obviously start a nonprofit right now, right? Or you could continue to build your real estate career, because once it's built, like I've done real estate where I have netted 7 figures a year, and once you do it, it's almost like a muscle where now it's not so hard to build back up. Because like I said, in 2023, I just didn't do real estate. I literally just stopped. I was just maintaining, like, sell a rental, sell a flip here, like nothing crazy. And then in December, because I always set goals, and I set serious goals where it's not like, oh, well, this year I'm going to do this. It's like, this is the year. Like, I'm not pivoting. This is what I'm going to do. So since making that decision, I think we've gotten like 7 deals in like 4 weeks.
That's awesome.
But I could have only done that because I've done it before.
Yeah.
So I guess if you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like running a marathon. Once you do it once, you're like, okay, I know what it is, and you know how to prepare, you know, like what to look for, you know how to get into pace to run the marathon. But if you never did it,
you don't really know what it takes.
Exactly. So you don't know what it takes yet. It sounds like to net 7 figures in real estate.
Nope.
So I would say that's probably, if you
Step
depending
1.
on the level you want to get to, yeah, you're gonna have to do that.
100%. So now we get to the conversation of making 7 figures, netting 7 figures in real estate.
Yeah.
When you're wholesaling with a partner is a little bit tough because everything's 50-50.
Yeah. Well, it depends. Like, everyone's partnership is different.
Yeah. Well, mine is 50-50. So it can't just be wholesaling.
It can't. It could. I mean,
yeah, it could.
It could. It's harder to get there. It's harder to get there. And that's another reason I like flipping, because the average flip normally that I do is like, it'll net 30K or more. So I'll have flips that make 75. I'll randomly get a flip that makes 130. So it's kind of like bigger chunks, and I don't have to do 100 deals. You know what I mean? If I do 25 flips that make me 40K each, that is $1 million. That's 2 a month. That doesn't seem like this big mountain.
Yeah.
Especially once you start to do volume.
Yeah.
Like you are, 2 deals a month to you
is not a lot.
Yeah. You're like, I could do 2 deals. Like, I could do 2 deals by yourself.
Yeah.
So that's with me too. I don't have this big operations, because I really need to do 2 to 3 deals a month. And that's it.
And right now we really need to go from the 3, 4, 5 consistently to a 10, 11, 12 consistently.
Exactly.
That's the biggest jump that has to happen to even like really start feeling like, and then maybe not when that happens, I think we will have more breathing room to do more different types of real estate. Because right now it's like we have to reinvest right back into wholesaling.
Yeah. So what do you know, like your margin, like 2023, do you know what the business brought in and then what you ended up taking, percentage wise at least?
I ended up taking probably a little less than probably around 15%.
15%? Yeah. So according to Jerry Norton, this is not me, but even what I've seen, obviously, like, because Wealthy Investor, I've coached or talked to 1,000, 2,000 real estate investors.
Yeah.
So just from what I've seen, a healthy wholesaling company normally nets about 30 to 40%. Have you heard that before?
Right. Yeah. Well, we're around 30, which is where I got the 15.
Exactly. Yeah. So 30 to 40%. Obviously, there's some that are like higher because their fees, or it's a smaller company. It's like, oh, 1 acquisition person, 1 dispo. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The margin's higher. But so then to net to you, I don't know how to reverse the math on 15%. It would be like 10 million, right?
Yeah, for 15%, for me to make 1 million and that to be 15%.
It has to be about like 10 million.
Wow.
Yeah. So It's math, dude. That's one thing that
It's a big year wholesaling.
Yeah. Better get your ass wholesaling. Yeah, make some money. But yeah, and then also too, so there's different ways to look at it, right? So again, for me, I looked at it in the very beginning. I looked at basic math because I started off as a realtor and I was making 3 to 8K per agent. Okay, commissions.
Yeah.
So when I was looking at the math and I talked to Ryan, when I met Ryan, he was flipping 100 houses, netting always over 20K. That was like the minimum.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. So I was
2
like,
million
okay,
a year.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if I just want to do 1 million, I only need to figure out how to do 25.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going to have to reverse engineer your way into how do you make the money? And then if it's 10 million, okay, with an average wholesale fee of 8,500, let's just pull out the candy dandy calculator. This could be a lot. Divided by 8,500, and it's like 1,000 deals. I don't know if I just did that right. So 10 million divided by 8,500. Yeah, it's like 1,000.
How much is that a month?
1,000. That's 1,100 deals
in a year, and then divided by 12 months, it's going to be like 100 deals a month.
Yeah.
98 deals a month. Okay.
Yeah. So it's possible, but then I could do 25. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, it's time to learn a new skill and level up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine.
And it's a little daunting.
No, it's not daunting because you're already in real estate. So like I said, I started off as a realtor. So I made 3K. I made 3 to 8K a month when I first started on deals. So, you know what I'm saying? You're starting off at a better position.
When you started flipping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would think about that. And then I would also think about like, yeah, I mean, that was a lot to unpack. What do you think about all that?
I think you're so right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I needed to hear that. I think it's timely advice. There's no you can't just jump up a ladder and levitate and end up at the top.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Oh, and it goes, and because we were talking about the analysis paralysis thing. So
yeah.
if the ultimate goal is XYZ, how do you get there? You got to make money. Okay. How do you make that money? Okay. You got to reverse engineer it. And that's what it comes out to.
So even if we said 500K wholesaling, 500K digital and podcast, that could also be the million net here.
That could. Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel so on the digital side, I do feel a lot more ease and freedom. And I just feel like it's easier.
Okay. I don't know if you want to talk about it on here, but we could bleep it out. We would figure it out. How much did you make from digital 2023?
So probably bleep it out.
Yeah.
So so this is crazy, Brian. So in the last quarter of 2023 was my best quarter ever doing this whole digital thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So October, November, December, those last 3 months, I did almost 240K.
240K?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I did 140 on a
240K, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
So I did
Do you want to bleep it out? Because I feel like it's good.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think keep it in. I think it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care that people know. I guess I haven't wrapped my head around doing taxes and things like that, so I'm a little nervous about.
Yeah, no, they're not going to watch this podcast.
Yeah. So
it's going to come down to what you file.
What it is okay, I know how to do a deal.
Yeah.
I know how to pick a market. I know how to find a list. I know how to call people, but making $1 million wholesaling is hard as hell.
It is hard.
It's hard because you just calculate, I'm going to need to do so many deals, right? And I'm either going to do them all by myself or I'm going to have to train and grow this team, which also takes a long time.
100%.
The reason why I liked all of this is because I had time, location, financial freedom I felt. When I was the only one on my team, even on a day I didn't really feel that good, if I at least sent a few texts and calls and pushed my stuff to the next day, then I'm making 100% of every deal. Mm-hmm. Although I was burnt out, I was keeping all the money, so I was feeling really good about it, I'll say.
Yeah.
And I still feel really good about wholesaling, and it's flowing and it's going and we're good. But to scale wholesaling and to scale digital looks very different. Because to scale digital, you can do it with less skilled people. To scale wholesaling, you need talented people who want real salaries, which is hard to pay when you're still kind of building.
Yeah.
But on the digital side, I've been able to have so much easier growth because I don't need as skilled people to help me.
Yeah. But like, how did you make that 240?
So 140 was from a 5-day. So I did a 5-day live event. So people will pay between $50 and $100 to get our $100 to get a general admission ticket, and then they'd pay $490 at the most to get a VIP ticket.
Okay.
So it's a 5-day event, and with the VIP, they're getting an extra hour, like one-on-one group call, and then they're getting a Telegram group. So I'm talking to them for the whole week.
Yeah.
So it's a 5-day intense, like virtual wholesaling training. Like day 1, pick your market. Day 2, find sellers, find buyers. Like, so it was very intense. That 5-day event, we did 20K in the front end. And then the people who joined my mentorship program after to virtually wholesale, on that end, we did 120.
Okay.
And that program is doing really good. People are getting a lot of contracts. People are excited and happy. So that makes me feel really good. And so that was the 140. The other 100-ish came from just regular webinar sales. I had a marketing and sales team.
Yeah.
So that I'm at like a 40% margin.
Okay.
So it's not as bad.
Yeah.
And I'm keeping more, I guess. And then I know that
Well,
there's
you're
more
keeping 'cause
opportunity.
It's 40 net to you, right?
It's 40 net to me.
Yeah. So one business you're at 15, and one business you're at 40.
And
So
then this one I'm kind of able to make more too because
it's faster.
And my audience is everyone versus just people who need to sell their house.
Exactly. Yeah. Broader audience.
Yeah.
So wealthy investor, obviously we've done a lot.
Of course. Yeah.
So with digital marketing, obviously the cash conversion cycle is way faster.
So fast.
Yeah. And it's different because in real estate, you do a bunch of work and then maybe you get paid, right? Because if deals fall out,
yes,
blah, 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 blah. In digital marketing, it's like you do some marketing work and then you get paid and then you service.
Yes.
So it's two different businesses.
Yes.
But I mean, you could do digital marketing and wholesaling. I don't feel like that's two completely different spectrums.
Yeah.
And then just statistically, like if you just were to look at your situation mathematically, like I said, like you would have to do 1,200 deals to make $1 million. So rather you would have to increase your net some way. So maybe higher profit, however you got to increase your net, right?
Yeah.
And then you could do that. You'd have to figure it out. And then digital marketing, you could also do that too. We're just growing your influence.
I could just do double.
Are you doing paid marketing though?
Not yet. So that was just organic pretty much.
And the problem is once you get into paid, it's a whole nother animal.
Yeah.
It is a whole nother animal. Now we've done challenges where we've spent like 90 grand and like not made anything. So like
on marketing?
On that 90.
Ah.
Yeah. Where we not lose, but break even.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's still like if you were to go out and invest that, do all this work, and then at the end it's like nothing. We've had where we've spent like maybe $500,000 on stuff and then not make true net. So it's just a different once you get into paid, it's completely different than organic.
It is. It's really, and I think it's similar to wholesaling, how I started off like bootstrapping.
Exactly.
And then I started off like this bootstrapping, and you get so much more profit when you're bootstrapping, and it is more exciting.
And it's just you.
Yeah.
Like when you're cold calling, your overhead's very low.
Yeah.
So if you get a 10K deal, you're good.
Yeah.
When you're like, okay, I'm hiring cold callers and then lead managers and then a closer and then, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It quickly like starts to be like, all right, I'm making 33K on every 10K that comes in instead of you're making 10K on 10K that comes in.
100%.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's important for investors and entrepreneurs to hear this, because I think most people, and I've done this too, where you get so obsessed with the revenue, where before we're like, we want to make 7 figures a month. We want to, bring in 7 figures a month in revenue. And then we do it. And then we're like, oh, well, like we did it, but what did it cost to bring that in? And then you're just like, does this make sense?
That's 100% where I'm at with the whole idea that there's other things that I guess in my mind would take less money or effort up front. And I think I'm just kind of in a journey because there's a lot of like information gaps with people. Like you don't know what you don't know. So until 100%. I knew about wholesaling, I couldn't make money on a wholesale deal.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know there's stuff out there that I don't know about. Like sometimes I meet people who are like in the oil industry or just something crazy, you know? And it's just so like, annoying. And wait, what?
Like, oh. I was golfing. I was golfing on Saturday or Sunday with Ivan Tadela, our Airbnb coach. And we were golfing with this little Asian lady, right? She's freaking hitting bombs for her. She weighed 100 pounds. She probably could hit it 150 yards, right? And then, but I could tell, she had some dinero, right? Like her bag, everything about her was just kind of like, all right, you could tell. So I was like, hey, what do you do? She's like, oh, I had this business that was like a vaporizer or something like that. But, we just sold it for like, I think $20 million. So now I'm just golfing. I'm like,
you feel me?
What am I doing?
I think Abraham too, right? Abraham Gray.
Yeah,
from Atlanta. I think I saw something on your Instagram.
Yeah, he just spoke on at WealthCon.
He just came to WealthCon.
Yeah.
Okay, guys like him, you know what I mean? When he talks about what he does with the businesses, it's like, bruh, like, this is, I feel like, okay, other people are doing these other things too. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm in the game. I'm meeting the right people. I'm learning about the right things. The right opportunities are around, and I just need to like hustle and grind and stay on the ball of what I'm doing. And then when that opportunity comes, it's like trying to match the gut feeling with the investment and taking the risk, because it's like, I do want to buy a business. I do want to buy multifamily. I do want to buy self-storage, but I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to go chase that because I don't want to lose sight again.
Exactly. That's the hard part with all entrepreneurs, all people. They're like, okay, so Alex Hormozy has this thing, I don't know if you've seen it, where he says like, first you start with uninformed optimism.
Yes.
Have you heard that before?
The Valley of Despair.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm in the Valley of Despair.
Yeah. So, are you?
I guess I'm being vulnerable here, but it's not all sunshine and rainbow. You can make money and not like love it. Not love what you're doing.
Yeah. So okay, explain the Valley of Despair for people who don't know.
So the Valley of Despair is like, first you have uninformed optimism, like, I'm going to start this company and be a millionaire, and it's going to be great. And then you start doing it, and it is horrible. It's so hard. Way harder than you thought. Grant Cardone 10X. No one ever thinks it's going to take what it really takes to get there. I love that. That was one of the first books I read that was like, my mind is messed up. I think stuff's supposed to be easy, and it's not.
Oh, bro, 10X. That's why I love Grant Cardone.
I love it. And I think that's what Hormozy is saying when he says that, is like, Valley of Despair, you feel sad because you're not accepting that 10X is the only way. You think it's going to be easier. And then after the Valley of Despair, you go try to do something else, and you have that uninformed optimism about the next thing. Yeah. And you just loop and loop and loop.
Yep. So I think it starts uninformed optimism, then informed pessimism. And then I don't know what the next step is, but that's when you're supposed to rather get over it and succeed, or you go back to, let me try this new thing. Yeah, you go back to, let me try this new thing, uninformed optimism, and then back to informed pessimism.
Yep.
And then, you just never end up like succeeding in anything. So,
that is so good. And I'm glad you said that. And you're kind of like, Tadi wake up call in a way, because it's like, I did that with wholesaling to where I was almost in a Valley of Despair, but I realized like, hey, this is my bread and butter. Like, get it together. Yeah, you have to do this. Yeah. And now it's like that business is growing and scaling and doing better. And then I'm still in the uninformed optimism phase of digital. Well, informed. Exactly. Informed optimism right now.
Yeah. So that's why I don't want you to think that you're not doing bad. You're doing great. So I don't think in any way you should feel like you're trying a new thing, because you're already doing it. if you were to be like, oh, well, now I want to do self-storage, then I would personally be like, yeah, I got to get mine. Like, yeah, like, yeah, okay. Yeah, go try it. Like, it's going to be great. But so with wholesaling, you've already gone through both stages and you've succeeded. With digital marketing, you have gone through both stages and succeeded on organic.
Yes.
So that's the key, because once you switch, now you're going into uninformed optimism, because paid ads can, like, you could go through money quick. So that's the only thing I would say. But then also too, just reverse engineer your way into how do you net $1 million and do that. And the tough part, another tough part. So with me coaching people, right? I can't coach people if I don't do.
Exactly.
Right? So Ryan can make way more money doing other things than flipping houses.
Yeah.
But why does he flip houses? Because he educates in it. So it would be weird to educate people on wholesaling and flipping if you don't actually wholesale and flip
Anymore.
Right? Because things change so fast.
Do you think it would be weird for Ryan anymore? I feel like he's definitely proven himself. I feel like in the beginning, yeah, but like I think there's guys that have been in the game like Ron LeGrand or like Jerry Norton. Like I don't think you have to see Jerry flipping houses though to believe it anymore.
I mean, I don't know. Like, do you follow Jerry on Instagram?
Oh yeah, his hotel. Yeah.
Yeah. But you see, like, he'll post like, got this deal.
Yep.
This was this. To me, that just instant credibility. And you need to get more if you're going to go into digital marketing. You're going to need not only the people that have been following you, but new people.
Yes.
And new people are going to need to see that you're doing it.
True.
So yeah.
Yeah, because there might be somebody that doesn't know Ryan still.
Exactly.
So,
oh yeah, there's a ton of people that don't know Ryan.
I guess because I'm in the industry, I think he's this like giant celebrity.
And it's funny too, because I don't see him that way. It's so funny. I was talking to Brandon Turner. He was on the podcast and we were just talking about influencers. He's like, yeah, like Ryan's like the biggest in the industry. I was like, no, he's not. And then some people see it like that, but I don't know. Maybe because I know him.
Because you know him so personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think to the outside world, it's like Grant, and then there's like Pace, and then Ryan.
Yeah,
Ryan's
exactly.
in there too. He's up for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So I look at like, and again, I've known Ryan since literally no social media to now. So I don't see him as like, oh, it's freaking Ryan Pineda. It's like I see my wife. It's just like, oh, that's my wife. Like, I don't know.
And someone off the street might be like, well, who is that dude? Has he even done a deal?
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that.
So yeah, I think that's definitely stuff that you should consider. And
this is going to be a funny year though.
Oh, I think it's going to be a great year.
Just learning if because I don't mind the organic. Like even doing the organic consistently would be less stressful and more fun.
It is more stressful. I mean, less stressful and more fun. And I feel like you get better clients. So whenever someone joins Wealthy Investor and they've been following me, I know their beliefs. I know what they think. Where if someone comes to you and they're like, I don't know who you are, but I'll sign up. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what you're getting as far as like a student. So
that's facts. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's some good things to think about.
But yeah, let's transition. Excuse me. Let's transition to mindset, because you've been a successful wholesaler. You had to come from being a single mother, failing in Las Vegas and then succeeding virtually wholesaling. How does someone get over the hurdles of wanting to quit and give up when they're first starting real estate?
Yeah, I think that's a great question because most people do give up. I think you kind of have to go into it deciding that you're not going to give up until X or Y happens, whatever that is for you. So like for me, it was like, I'm going to get a deal and I'm going to give it my all to get this deal. And I'm going to give it a whole month. And that's literally what I gave myself when I started.
Just 1 month?
1 month. Because I was like, if I can't get a deal in a month, but that's why I did the 10 hours a day. I was going to give it a real month. Like I'm going to give it my all for a full month because I knew I didn't have that much time. I only had $300 a week. So if it wasn't going to be wholesaling, I had to move on to the next thing. So I gave it my all. And I would say when you do something, do it with that intention, because the only way it won't work is if you don't give it 100%. If you do, you will get a deal. Yeah. When is just the question. So I think go into it with a predetermined mindset. I'm going to do go hard and do this for this amount of time.
Yeah.
And then look back and assess my results. And I think for me personally, I do like mind hacks. So I write myself little notes. So when I first started, what was a problem for me was the cold call rejection. And I took it really hard. And I would get off a rejection call and not want to get back on the dialer. So I would write sticky notes and I would say, every no is closer to a yes. And then I'd be like, I can't wait till someone cusses me out because the next call is going to be a deal. And I would say it out loud, even when I was like, because I'm very emotional. So like, I'll kind of like when I get emotional, you know how you start choking up?
Yeah.
So I'll be like, the person would be so angry and I get off the phone and be like, swallow it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't wait till someone cusses me out. The next deal is going to be a yes. And then I will go 1, 2, 3, press start dialing. And that's what 1, 2, 3, press start dialing was like my mantra to throughout the day because it is very hard to sit on a dialer for that long.
Yeah.
That's one of the hardest things I've done in my life, which is silly, but.
What was the average profit on your Cleveland deals when you first started?
Back then it was about 7,500, so it wasn't really much different.
So you knew if you just started dialing, potentially the next phone call would make you $7,500.
Not at that time. I didn't know about stats, KPI. I didn't know anything. I never ran a business.
Yeah.
So I didn't think of tracking anything. I didn't think of documenting, like really keeping good track. But I knew I would write my leads on a piece of paper, and every day I would talk to at least 20 people who would have a conversation with me.
Yeah.
Whether it was like they wanted to sell or they were thinking about it.
Got it.
And this is, oh, by the way, I was doing like 860 to 1,200 dials a day.
Yeah.
That's what my dialer was doing. And I was on phone burner at that time.
Phone burner.
Yeah. It's a single line auto dialer and it actually rings. So it has really good call quality. But yeah, so out of that 800 to 1,200, I would get 20 decent leads. And I knew if I'm talking to like 15, 20 people a day, I'm going to get another contract. So once I got the first one, I just continued to cold call. The mindset is really like, I don't know if everyone will have it. I think my back was a little bit against the wall at the time and I had to make something happen. But I think if you can put yourself in that mindset, you can do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. For me too, when I first started, I had the mindset that I was rather going to, I don't want to say the D word, but I would not live or I would figure out real estate.
Wow.
There was no like,
Why were you so?
Because I didn't have any other option. I didn't know about anything else.
Yeah.
Like I never knew about insurance or Amazon or anything. Like it was just like, all right, you work at a restaurant at the Palms, or what else is there? Like I just didn't know anything else. So I was just like, all right, if other people are having success, then I could do it. And I'm not going to stop until I succeed. So it was just that type of like simple like commitment where there is no other, I'm not going to give up. It is. And I wasn't even trying to be motivational. It was just like, okay, like it's kind of like if I'm like, oh, how are you going to figure out being a mom? It's like, well, I don't know. I'm just going to do it. There's
You
not
have to.
Yeah, I have to. There's no, yeah, exactly. You literally have to, where some people, they don't have that type of conviction. They're just like, yeah, I'm going to try wholesaling. Oh, it doesn't work. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. Where I just was just like, oh, I'm just going to figure this out. And that's it. Even if it takes me 50 years.
Oh, wow.
If you give yourself that type of mindset where I'm not going to quit on this, so I have to figure it out, I believe everyone will be successful in whatever they try.
I like that. I agree. 50 years.
Yeah, 50 years. Or you had the same mindset as me where when I started dialing, I dialed all day.
Yes.
It wasn't like, oh, I dialed 15 minutes. It's like, bro, I would dial. I remember I would start calling at like 7, which is illegal, I'm pretty sure. And then I would just call. And then I was just like, I'm not going to eat until I get a good lead.
Yeah.
And then I would like keep calling. And then once I got a good lead, I was like, oh, well, now I don't want to quit. And then I would just keep calling. And then slowly it snowballed into everything.
And it is addicting. Like once you can get yourself through like the first hour or whatever that's annoying and you have good conversations, it can be really great.
100%.
Once you get over the bad parts. So we did. And I feel like almost everyone who succeeded in real estate has a similar story. I remember Jerry Norton told me that when he was getting started, he like drove up and down a town with a map for like a month or something crazy.
Really?
So I think everybody has that, like, who really wants to be successful, you're going to do whatever.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so last segment I want to transition to. So this is brand new, all right? We're going to call it a 10-minute deep dive. So for 10 minutes, I want to go through step by step how someone can do some sort of aspect in real estate investing. So you are a virtual wholesaling expert. You've done up 150 deals. I've done about 300 deals. So together we should be able to explain to someone how to do their first wholesale deal virtually. Okay. So let's start off in the very beginning. Where does someone start?
Number one, pick a market.
Okay. I know a lot of people are going to struggle with that because they're going to be like, should I do California? Should I do Cleveland? Should I do this? Let's give them 3 markets that they should pick.
Love it.
Yeah.
State or specific city in the state?
Specific city and state.
Okay, good. 3 that I love. North Carolina, Raleigh-Durham. And I know Raleigh-Durham's 2 cities, but you got to do both because they're both small.
Okay.
Florida, Jacksonville.
Okay.
Don't come to Kansas City. Just kidding. Feel free. Sell me deals.
Yeah.
But Georgia, surrounding Atlanta, is really good.
Okay.
Not Atlanta, but the counties surrounding.
Got it. So why
Fulton.
those 3 markets?
So surrounding Fulton County, if you pay attention to Atlanta, their rents are like quadrupling. And the city, like the nice part of the city, they're expanding out. And all of the neighborhoods, even that don't have a lot of people living there yet, are getting built really, really quickly. So there's land deal opportunities there, a lot of tired landlord opportunities there. And it's such a large landmass area around there. A lot of investors too. Everyone wants to buy. So it's easy to sell a deal.
Okay.
North Carolina, because there's a lot of development happening.
Same thing, hot market.
Same thing, cheap prices, good rent, cash flow market.
Okay.
And then Jacksonville is the largest land mass city in the whole United States, growing like crazy, has the most cash buyers almost out of like all the markets, and very easy to sell a deal.
Got it. Okay, so we gave them 3 markets that they should pick. How do they start to find leads to get their first wholesale deal?
So you're going to determine how you're going to reach out to people before you get the leads. So if you're cold calling, you want to get a list. The list can come from reprolist.com. You can pull, like we talked about, figure out the hot zip codes first. So once you pick your market, figure out the hot zip codes. And then I like to pull a list with individual owners. I like to leave out the corporate.
Okay.
And when we skip trace that, we get most people.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so we're kind of getting more bang for our buck. And then ideally, if that list is 10,000, it's going to take you 2 or 3 weeks to get through it.
Got it.
All day on the dialer.
So let's say we're going to tell people to pull 25,000 records just to guarantee that they have enough records to get their first deal. Okay. So what list should they pull?
If you want the best list.
Okay.
So if you have a little extra money and you want the best list, the first thing you want to do is you want to download the highly motivated lists out of PropStream separately. So that's your pre-foreclosure, pre-probate, divorce. PropWire also has probate, interfamiliar transfer. So when people transfer deed from one family member to another.
Got it.
So inheritance.
Got it.
So you want to get all of these separately.
Okay.
Then you want to put them into REI Sift.
Okay.
REI Sift will stack them all for you. So cool. And then it'll tell you who all is on multiple lists.
Okay.
So you'll be able to pull out of that maybe 400 people who happen to be on 3 or 4 of these highly motivated lists.
Okay.
Just cold call those people first.
Got it.
You'll probably get a deal.
Okay. So let's say what dialer should they use? And then let's role play a basic script that they can follow.
Sure. A really good single line dialer is Phone Burner. For that list, that's perfect because it actually rings. You can hear it ring. It connects. It's very authentic. Like for a new person, I think it's so much better. When you're ready to step up, then you get ready mode.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, look at that one.
When you're ready to level up, then you get ready mode. But for a beginner, Phone Burner is really, really good.
Got it. Okay. And then, so we told them the dialer. Let's role play a basic conversation.
Sure.
All right. Ring.
Hey, Brian.
Yes, this is him.
Hey, Brian. How's it going? This is Tadi.
What's up, Tadi?
Hey, I was calling about 123 Main Street. I was seeing if you were interested in selling that property.
Make me an offer. Yeah, what do you want to offer?
I mean, are you interested in selling it, or is it kind of like if you give me a good number?
I mean, yeah. I've been thinking about selling it. So yeah, if you give me a good number, I'll sell it right now.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I just want to ask you a couple questions. Do you have a minute?
Yeah.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit more about the property. Is anyone living there now?
No. Just the tenants just moved out.
How long ago was that?
They moved out on the last week, 2 weeks ago.
Okay, awesome. So normally, we buy either properties that need you to add a little bit of value into them, or if they are fully renovated with tenants in them already. Mm-hmm. Do you think your property needs some upgrades still, or is it 2023 fully updated?
I mean, yeah, I haven't updated it. It's I bought it in the 70s and it's been rented out the whole time. The tenant just moved out. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, how much are you gonna offer me?
Well, we just collect some more information and really run our numbers. I don't want to just give you a random number. I want to make sure it's a good one.
Okay.
How did you even get to owning this property in the 70s?
I just bought a property in Vegas at the time with my ex-wife, and it was great, and
oh wow,
just wanted to build passive income.
It was just like a rental. You bought it to be a rental at that time?
I bought it. Yep. I bought it to be a rental. Yep.
If you were to sell it all cash, do you have a number in mind?
I would want, I don't know, what would you offer? I don't want to tell you a number.
Why not?
Just because, I don't know. What if you're a scammer?
Fair enough. No, that's fair. I definitely want to really deep dive. I am looking at some other properties that sold in the area. Basically, you're letting me know it needs updating. Anything major? Roof, foundation?
No, I don't think it needs a foundation or a roof. It just needs it's all old inside, but it's clean, but it's just old.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking here. There's a lot of recent sales, and looks like they're 258 Movado Court around the corner. It sold for $240. Looks like it still needed updating. Does that sound about right to you?
I mean, 240. I wanted to get 280.
Okay. It's a possibility. Are you in Vegas now, or how would we be able to check out the property?
Yeah, I could just drive over there and meet you there.
Okay, awesome. Let's set up a time for tomorrow. Would 11 a.m. work?
Yep.
Okay, let's set up a time for tomorrow, 11. We'll have our contractor go meet you, get some pictures so we can get a really good rehab estimate, and then I can give you a call right after that. Is that okay?
Okay. All right, perfect.
Cool.
So yeah, pretty much
you seem kind of like you just wanted the number and you weren't really trying to vibe with me.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, I would send someone so we're official, we're not a scammer.
Yeah.
And then I would try to get you to talk to me a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because you weren't really messing with me.
Got it. Okay. All right.
But some people are way more talkative and they will just.
Oh yeah. I was trying to be difficult on purpose because I know a lot of the people that when they first start cold calling, they're gonna get this kind of feedback. But okay, so we gave them the dialer, the list, what to say. What else do people need to do to get their first virtual wholesale deal? So
you need to make sure that number was good. So obviously I'm randomly throwing that out there. But what I was trying to do was price anchor. So the 240 I was giving you was the lowest cash comp is what I was trying to.
Okay. So whatever you offer, you want to start off with
at the lowest.
And
I'm not offending you because I'm just throwing out the sale that actually happened in your neighborhood.
Yeah. You wouldn't say, oh, would you take blank? You're like, oh, well, this other property sold for this.
Sound about right?
Does that sound yeah. Okay, got it. Okay, that was deep.
Yeah, because a lot of people will hang up right away if you give them a bad number.
Got it.
And I don't want that. So I do. And it's funny when you were talking about wholesaling because this is the part, right? Because it's there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of sales skills. You have to know not to push people too far because they will hang up on you.
100%. So, okay, let's say you end up getting that contract signed. Where do you go to find buyers?
So if you don't already have buyers, while you are picking your hot zip code and getting your list and all that, this is an evening activity that you should be doing. If you're not cold calling in the evening, you should be building your buyers list. So Buyers are in Facebook groups. Real buyers are in Facebook groups looking for deals. The ones that want to buy right now are like commenting actively. There's also a lot of wholesalers in there.
Yeah.
So it's time you start getting to know your market and establishing presence there by telling people,
Yeah.
hey, I'm new to this market.
Yeah.
I want to connect with you.
Uh-huh.
And those people will help you comp properties. They'll help you sell properties, but they will buy from you. So my first deal I sold on a Facebook group.
Got it. Okay. And then how much did you make from that?
Almost 15,000. It was
Yeah.
14,600 something.
Got it. Okay. So looking for buyers in the evening, Facebook groups, connecting with cash buyers in these Facebook groups. What else do people need to do their first virtual deal?
You need agreements. So you will need the purchase agreement,
and
assignment agreement. You'll need a good title company, which you can also find in the Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Super simple.
Super
And
simple.
that's it. That's really it. I mean, you need a social ID, LLC, some way to get paid, a bank account. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. How much time do you think someone has to commit to do their first deal?
If you're cold calling, you need to have like at least 6 hours a day, in my opinion, to
6
really
hours
dedicate.
a day.
Yeah.
Okay. But what if they don't have 6 hours a day because they have another job or whatever excuse people come up with?
They need to have a little money to hire some cold callers.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you're trying to replace yourself, you want to hire two.
Got it.
Because they're not going to be as effective as you.
So what about if someone doesn't have, let's say they do have 6 hours a day, maybe they have 2 hours a day that they're willing to commit. How long do you think it will take them to get their first deal?
If they only have 2 hours a day, it could take months.
Really?
Yeah. Because a cold call lead isn't always going to be hot the moment you call them.
Got
When you
it.
do that super stacked list that I told you about, you
Yeah.
probably will get some people who need to sell now. But sometimes those types of deals are going to be more advanced than you're ready to handle,
Yeah.
like probate or pre-foreclosure.
Yeah.
So you need to reach out to someone who can help you in your market that actually knows what they're doing. It can help you get through that deal. And if you did that with just 2 hours a day, you could do a deal in your first month, but you have to be willing to then go reach out to people for help because you're going to get a tough deal. You're
Yeah.
going to get a probate or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So you just have to find an established real estate investor in
Yeah.
the market that could help you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think, yeah, if you only have an hour to 2 hours a day, you just got to call like a stacked list and then have a closer on the back end that you could be like, hey, I got this deal. Help me close it.
Facts. That's hard for a newbie. Where do they find a closer?
Hit me up, hit you up. Like it's not rocket science. I bet you in these Facebook groups, they're established closers / investors that will partner with you.
Yeah.
Make sure they're ethical. Cause I remember one of the first person I worked with, I was doing that. I was cold calling NODs and then bringing it to him. And then we were supposed to split it. And I did such a good job that I got like 5 right away. And then he was like, you know what? I did the math, and on these 5, you're going to make like over 6 figures. I was like, I know. He's like, that's too much. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, like you should be making this. So that's what we should do. And I'm like, well, no, that's not fair. He's like, well, like everything's in my name. So if you don't like it, then we could just end it. And I was like, okay. So I got paid way less, but moving forward, I didn't bring him any other deals. So learning lesson for you guys. So I think that was a great deep dive.
For my own peace of mind,
Yeah.
is that guy, like, what's going on with him right now? Is he happy? He's
I don't know.
crushing
He
it
still
still?
hits me up. Like he was just a shady investor. Yeah, he was just a shady investor.
I hope just desserts are real because that's so shady.
Yeah.
Same thing happened to me.
Oh,
One
really?
of my first, it was small, it was $500, but
Yeah.
I had a $500 contract and like in those first 8, and I said I didn't close one of them.
Yeah.
It was a guy kind of like backstabbed me. On the day that the contract expired, he went and bought it with a quitclaim deed.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I was like going so hard on social and everything like that. We ended up bumping into the same circles. Like randomly, like a year later, he sent me a cash app for $1,500, which I don't know how much he made on the deal. I don't know what happened, but I guess he felt bad. But that was one of my first experiences. But I didn't let it deter me from going to reach out and find other people with integrity to work with in Cleveland, because I did.
Yeah.
I went on to find people.
Is there anything else you think people need to do their first virtual?
To do your first, I mean, no. Besides obviously the internet, the phone and stuff, the softwares. If you can have a mentor or somebody to help guide you, I think that would be very helpful. I think it would go from taking months to do a deal to like a month.
Yeah.
Because when you run into situations with leads, they can tell you, oh, just do that, just do that.
Yeah.
So at least someone to be able to like bend their ear.
Got it. I guess, yeah. I mean, I think we covered everything. You crushed it. If people want to find you or reach out to you, where do they go?
Yeah, it's just Tadi Virtual on all platforms.
Yeah.
And I will be there waiting.
There we go.
Smiling.
There we go. Beautiful, guys. This was the Wealthy Investor Podcast. We are out. Peace.